50 years of age, and I have a felony. Never in my life, before now, had I ever even been in jail. And I just spent 7 months and 8 days in a to the max federal detention center. And I want to tell y'all how I even got there. So, I'm an activist, have been since I was a teenager. Cut to all the chase and all the nonsense. I grew up in Minneapolis, all right? I've dealt with all of what people saw in 2020 with George Floyd. I dealt with that in person, from the police breaking my mother's knee in 2 places because she would not allow them to look through her purse. When they came to the house looking for her son, she let them search the house. Then they went to look in her purse. She said, "He's not in my purse. You can't search my purse." They proceeded to throw her on the ground, manhandle her, roughhouse her, and broke her knee in 2 places. She was terrified and ended up going to stay with one of her friends' house to heal. So I've dealt with that. I've dealt with all of it since my teen years, right? So when I saw what had happened with George Floyd, I just went right into what I normally do when I go to protest, which is to speak out. I don't go with picket signs. I don't go to march. I go to speak out, which is what I was doing at the LA protest. But before that, I went to the Santa Monica protest. I had my YouTube live. I was showing the helicopters. I was ranting on YouTube live. Now, I knew that Minneapolis was on fire because, again, I grew up there. So I was talking to one of my girlfriends who was also going to all of the protests, and she was keeping me up to date on everything that was going on. I had only been in California for 7 months. I was minding my business, doing my thing, focused on building up product and crochet, and I had just purchased my lashes for when the world opened back up so that I can get back in hustle mode. So anyway, I'm on my way to the Santa Monica protest. I'm on YouTube Live. I'm ranting, showing the helicopters, just snapping, essentially. So anyway, I said something on my YouTube. I'm not going to say it again because it already got me 7 months and 8 days in federal custody and 2 years of my devices and all of my online activity being monitored. So I'm not going to repeat what I said. But what I said is what made what I did a felony. All right, so I get to the Santa Monica, and I'm seeing things that I've never seen before in my life. Because in Minnesota, before George Floyd, you can't break in stores, you can't be looting, none of that happens in Minnesota. I had heard about it here in California happening. So I get there, I see it. It was pandemonium. People were everywhere, breaking in stores. The only stores that were safe were those that were boarded up and it said Black Lives Matter on it. Those were the only stores that were safe. CVS wasn't safe. Nike, no other store, okay? Especially the big stores. So what I did, just to jump to the chase, what I did that made that what I combined with what I said made it all a felony, which I found out when I was in custody. Anything on the internet is federal, okay? So what I did was I lit a roll of paper towels on fire. One single roll with a big lighter. I set it on fire. It was immediately stomped out. No damage, nothing. A single roll of paper towels didn't even get a chance to burn out. All right, it was set on fire. So then I leave there and I'm like, this ain't my thing. I don't do this. I don't be starting fires. I don't be trashing places, which I didn't trash anything. But I was just like, this energy isn't my thing. So I started going to the LA protests from there. There I started speaking in the crowds, doing what I normally do, which is make my voice heard and get the people to think about what they're not thinking about, to think in a different way about the whole thing. Like in LA, they had all started to, because for a time, they wanted to, make a monument of the position that old boy was on, kneeling down with his hand up. I said, no, I had a whole crowd of people. I said, get up, get up. I said, y'all look like a conqueror. We're not about to, no, everybody get up. Look at you. You look like the Captain Morgan man. I said, this is how this man died, with someone's knee on his neck and with him standing there boasting. I said, no, get up. And they were just like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. And the whole crowd got up. We're not about to do this here. Look around at one another. Do you not look like conquerors? This is not what we're about to immortalize right here. So just things like that, speaking in crowds, stopping the police from running over crowds of people. This is what I do. So anyway, I go on with my life. This happened May 31st, 2020. George Floyd was killed May 25th, 2020. So I went on with my life because nothing happened. I didn't think anything of it. So I go on with my life. 2021, go on with my life. I ended up getting the mansion, starting an Instagram page. That ended up blowing up, ended up going viral. At the time, I'd also started my cleaning business. I had 7 clients. I decided to go with Instagram instead of bringing my YouTube channel back, creating a new YouTube channel, because I still had that YouTube channel, which I started years ago, but I revamped it in 2017 when I became a mobile dweller and I was in Hotel Honda. So I had revamped it from then. So I started instead of starting a new YouTube channel, I just started a fresh Instagram page because it fit my life at the time. I was way too busy to make videos, edit videos, upload them onto YouTube. So I just went on with my life. 2022 goes and comes. My Instagram is blowing up. 2023 comes and goes. Now I'm coming up on my 5th year of being in California. And I said when I came here, I only want to be here for 5 years. So 2024 made my 5th year being here. However, that was interrupted. I want to say maybe October 5th, 2023, I was by the beach, by the Pacific Ocean. It's an area I've shared on this YouTube page several times where I like to take my outdoor showers and things like that. So I was there, had just finished making myself breakfast. I was chilling, and I hear a knock on my van door. I had my doors open. I think the back door, the back tailgate or whatever it's called, was up a little bit. Shalonda Macalo, FBI. I was like, what? Whatever it is, you got the wrong person. So I was texting with somebody at the time, and I let them know the feds are here. I'm being arrested right now. It was like, what? So I was like, well, what's going on? I'm not combative or anything like that. And again, I'm like, I haven't done anything. So whatever it is, you got the wrong person. I have no reason to argue with you and make a whole scene about anything and try and resist arrest or anything like that. I had no reason to do that. So I just asked if I could call my clients, because by that time I had dropped all my clients except for one, who was the first clients that I started off with, who became my friends now. And so I called him so I can give him the key to my van so they could look out for my van. And I'm still asking, like, what is this about? What is this about? He gives me the paperwork finally. I read the paperwork and I see the date, May 31st, 2020. And it said arson. Arson. I said, what? So I'm still thinking you got the wrong person. When I saw arson, I'm still thinking you have the wrong person. I have not set anything on fire. Like, I haven't. Arson. Of course, I'm thinking like arson, like you burned some shit down. For me, even still right now, when I think arson, I think you set something on fire. You burned something. You caused physical damage to a building. You set a garbage dumpster next to a building on fire. Like, you caused a major fire. I'm not thinking about that single roll of paper towels that was stomped out. That never crossed my mind. So they take me down. I ended up spending the night. I see the magistrate judge. The magistrate was dope. So I go in and she's looking over everything. Now, to see my name on the end of USA v. Macalo was wild. Okay? United States of America versus Macalo, wild. Wild. Okay? Wildest shit I've ever experienced in my life. So then the attorney for the United States wanted to keep me detained because I live in a van. The magistrate judge says, no, it's our duty to use the least restraint, the least restrictive method. She said, this woman has no criminal history. She said, y'all arrested her 3 years after the incident. She said, you're within your statute of limitations, but the case is stale. The case is a bit stale. I'm not saying you're not within your statute of limitations. You are. And she did that so, the woman wouldn't flip her damn wig. But she said the case is a bit stale. And she looked at the date. She says, does this have anything to do with the George Floyd murder? She acted like, I don't know. She was kind of dumbfounded at where the judge was coming from. And so she said, no, I'm not going to detain her. We need to figure something out. She said she's willing to go on ankle monitor and to be tracked. Let's work that out because I'm not going to detain her. And I was like, okay. And the judge also said, the magistrate judge, she said, we're not going to hold her lifestyle against her. I said, okay, right on. So I was in pretrial for a year on ankle monitor. And October 28th, 2024 is when I had my sentencing. And I went in, and my public defender was black. He chose me, and he said he chose to be a public defender instead of like going another route in law, was so that he could represent us, is what he said. Okay, that those were his words. So I can represent us. I respected it. So we get in there, and the judge, it was an old Chinese man. The judge gave my attorney a run for his money. Because before we went in, my attorney asked me if I would want to say anything. I said no. I said everything I needed to say. I wrote my 2 letters. My client friends wrote a letter on my behalf. I was like, there's nothing more I need to say. Once I saw the way the judge was giving my attorney a run for his money, I said, yeah, I'm going to need to speak up for myself. So when the judge, once they got tired of verbal ping pong that they were doing, the judge asked if I had anything to say, and I said yes. And I spoke my piece, and I said, for one, this isn't characteristic of me. And he kind of snickered and said, well, if you hadn't set the paper towels on fire, maybe you could say that. I said, no, if I knew anything about setting a fire, there would have been a lot more, there would have been damage done. Because the judge also had on his docket, which my attorney brought up, some people who intentionally set a fire. They went with gas masks for protection. They went with things to ignite a fire, all kind. And what they burned caused $100,000 in damage, right? That's what I think when I think arson, not a goddamn roll of paper towels. So anyway, I said, no, I can say that because this was an emotional response. Like growing up in Minneapolis, dealing with these extremely racist white cops and teachers. And just so with that, I was like, let God's will be done in my life, because that's always what it is. And so he gave me, I asked if I can have some time to get my affairs in order. And I asked for the first week in December. So December 6th was my self-surrender date. And that was that. December 6th, I had to go turn myself in with the U.S. Marshals. It was an experience that you can't, people who have an opinion about what being incarcerated is and have never been incarcerated, I beg, I beg, swallow your opinion and just sit on it. I beg, just remove your opinion from any experience that you have not gone through. If you have not, I don't care if your brother, mother, sister, father, uncle, I don't care who you know that has gone through it. And this is with anything in life. If you yourself have not experienced it, remove yourself from having any type of opinion about it. I beg. Because that is a situation, that is an experience, that is an environment that cannot be spoken on unless you've endured it. So that's all today's video is about. I just wanted to come and share with you guys why I was gone. My friends kept my van for me. They kept it safe. My plants stayed alive and waited for mommy. They were holding on. Like they were really holding on, and they're coming back to life. There's new leaves growing everywhere. And so I'm very glad to be back home. I'm very glad to be back in business and back on YouTube. I lost my monetization, but I'm so happy to be back on YouTube. I will not be spending a whole lot of time talking about the experience. But at some point I will share with you guys what that 7 months and 8 days. My bad. My phone ran out of memory. So, yeah, but you didn't miss much. I was just saying that at some point I may come back and let you guys know what the experience was like, but that is not my top priority. So that was the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I will be posting more videos. The next video that I post will be of me organizing the storage below my bed and getting rid of a lot of stuff and just decluttering and getting reorganized before we get all the way into fall and winter. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who is still around, who has stayed subscribed to me during the last, I'm going to say last year. Like even before I went in my videos, I just, after that 4 weeks of being sick, I do recognize that my content went down, my motivation went down, my inspiration to create content went down. So I thank you to my longtime subscribers who have stuck around through all of that. I'm back and I'm glad to be back. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.